What up, Mark?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Rosha's right next to me, by the way. So we're gonna be going off mute and on mute, so stuff doesn't echo.
So tell me about your business. What are you guys up to? Like, how do you see Hot Prospector fitting in there?
Rosh, you want to pick that up?
Yeah, one, good to meet you. Sorry, we're next to each other, so I don't want him to echo. But yeah, so we're a dental marketing agency, so we have clients and we do the appointment stuff. So we have right now, like I think 25 or 26 clients. Each client has an account high level, new leads, first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, callbacks. And we have 3 appointment setters who are calling. It's just inefficient a little bit and high level is glitchy. We hear from a lot of people, we're doing similar things with appointment setting, that Hot Prospector changed the game. And for us, we're doing right now to where our dialers get between 125 to $200 a day, but it's really slow. Like press, dial again, actually press, dial. Okay, new sub account. Okay, dial. So it's just not efficient.
Yeah. What would you say would be like ideal for you guys with this kind of a relationship? What would you guys like to see?
I've I've I have no idea. I literally only know that Hunter recommended Hot Prospector for the relationship being like we make the calls on there and our dialing team can live on there. And I don't even know yet how it integrates with the CRM, what we do on Prospector, what we keep doing on GoHighLevel. Obviously, like you guys on websites and stuff, so a lot of things would continue being on GoHighLevel. But if we can do our calls a lot more efficiently and not as many calls go to spam and it's just a much more efficient process, then I'd be completely fine with if it works better and if it's our because it can't just be a pointless move over. Obviously. And I'm not saying that to criticize you guys at all. We're on this call because I don't think it's a pointless move over. But if it's just going to make things 1%, 2%, maybe that's in the future. But I want to really see, oh, this is really going to change the way we make the calls. This is really going to change the amount of calls we can make. This is going to really change the amount of calls that are, I don't even know what it's called, spam filled, whatever it is. That's what I'm saying you guys could offer.
Sure. Look, I think a transition happened in agency over the last few years, and not everybody has really understood it or even are, or maybe they see it, but they're just resistant to accepting it. If your agency doesn't do what you guys are doing, which is helping your clients to convert those leads, you're worthless because most companies that we're targeting can't do anything with the leads that they get. They're just wasting their money. And guys like you really get it by putting that stuff in place. The challenge with high level is they've got automations and workflows, but their systems are not going to support agencies in what they have to do. Like high level as an agency tool has so much potential, but it falls short because it's slow. It's not designed for companies that have a lot of clients to get speed to lead. They don't measure speed to lead. It's not important to them. I don't know. Like, and that's not meant to say it's a jab because I think as a software as a whole, it's good. But just they could really focus on these things. So I recognized that actually by mistake with Hunter early on. The quick story, he used to have another company. I don't know if you guys know. Like he sold.
Pyro Queens?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
they brought us in because one of his friends referred him over to us to set up his call center. And it wasn't even about software then. It was just getting some people in place because they were struggling with getting people. And obviously with us comes the tech. We had integrated with high level, but not for agency. So as I got in and started seeing the how difficult it would be to do what you guys are doing, I was like, okay, here's what we need to do. And so like I sat down, mapped it all out, and had my dev team go to work, and we built an integration with high level that nobody else has now. And it's all really focused on helping agencies to achieve the speed to lead. Now, it's not going to do the thing that everybody is looking for where They're like, can I dial everything inside of high level? Can I be inside of high level? No, you can't. And that's something you're just going to have to be willing to give up because high level isn't a good tool for that. They're good for other stuff, but it's not that. Like you mentioned, web pages, stuff like that. We don't have it. And I don't know if it'll ever be a thing. But this speed to lead, we got a perfect situation for you there. So the way it works, you connect all your sub accounts into one account. You can set up number rotation, which will allow you to avoid showing up as spam. That is all. Number of numbers that you need is going to be depending on the number of agents that you have, clients that you have, the number of leads that you're generating for them, the number of calls that you're making per client per day. We can get into those specifics, but we know the algorithm, so we know how to keep you from showing up as spam, and our system's set up to support it. After you set up the numbers, the next thing is setting up a workflow to first address the speed to lead. Our dialer is going to take care of speed to lead by default. When leads come in that new, they're automatically prioritized at the top. Next step is age of the lead. So newest to oldest, we're going to call those leads. After you've called them, double dial them, triple dial them, whatever you're going to do on that initial attempt, if they don't answer, you want to set up a cadence for that day, next day, for that first week, so you're hitting them as many times as you possibly can to get those leads to convert. So we'll do all of those things for you, help you set up that approach, but that is what Hot Prospector is going to do for you. And then on top of that, give you access to messaging, appointments, and amazing reporting that will tell you everything that your agents are accomplishing or achieving inside of our system. So that's the gist of it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And again, Barosh does more of the management of this scheduling team that I do, but I was first initial concern or probably roadblock that comes in my head saying, "Ooh, I don't know if we could do this," but that's just a limiting belief. But the first concern for me is the way our dialers don't all work cohesively to dial leads, but they manage each individual account, meaning one dialer has 8 accounts and the other dialer has their own 8 accounts, and there is no crossover. And then you take responsibility over those accounts, and that's the way that post scheduling our systems are also set up. Is there any ways we could keep that, or is that not really a thing with Hot Prospector?
So that's a good question, and it comes up a lot. So everybody is building their systems around high level versus building a system that works based off of what could be if they had the right system, right? I'm focused 100% on speed to lead because there's nothing more important than speed to lead. If you wait more than a minute to call that lead, it used to be 5 minutes. If you wait more than a minute to call that lead, it's toast. Like, seriously, they're going to move on. They're going to, for automatically, every minute that passes, they're forgetting that they even did it. Especially with Facebook. They opt in off of your lead. Facebook shows them another ad immediately. And a lot of times they'll opt in on multiple ads. And next, they're not answering their phone because they're getting beat up by 5 different companies that they've opted into within an hour. Again, I'm not trying to change the topic off of your question, but I really think that we can do what you want as far as whatever processes and flows. I mean, our system is very
Sure.
adaptable, but I just feel like you
Yeah.
probably would want to rethink things knowing
Sure.
like what our capabilities are.
Yeah.
So how would you recommend it be set up? Is it they all go into, so every agent is working on all accounts, it's just they're taking the newest lead? Like, how is it set up?
I have people that do it both ways. That's why I said that, because some people, no matter what I tell them, and it's their business. They're going to do what they want, and I respect that. When I set people up under my own personal understanding of how things work, I find it's better to do what you just mentioned on the second, which is put everybody into one account so we can get that speed to lead addressed, because that is the important thing. Following up on calls or scheduled appointments. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Another quick thing, in terms of, because not all our accounts have the same spend, if one account is generating a large amount of leads, how do we avoid missing out on accounts that are on the smaller end of lead generation? That makes sense. Like,
Sure.
how does it adjust for, the
Like
different
their leads, everybody's leads needs to be called. But with the smaller accounts, if they get 3 leads, those leads especially need to get called. But the bigger account is getting 30 leads a day. Like we don't want the 30 leads to mask every other account. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Rose.
Those are very valid concerns. And here's the thing, right? This again, and it's hard. It's a limiting belief based off of using high level, right? I don't know how many people you have on your team, but my assumption is you're going to have a similar experience when you come to Hot Prospector as everybody else does. It's like, whoa, my guys were not efficient so much that I have too many people. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to blow through your leads so much faster that you won't have to worry about that concern. You can call one agent in Hot Prospector. Like I'm looking at one of my customers who's dialing right now. They're a roofing contractor generating 100 plus leads a day just for their own business. And they also have thousands, tens of thousands of leads that they're calling on the back end because they don't want to lose those opportunities that might have still be there. This agent here started at 8 a.m. their time, which is, what time are we? You guys are Mountain? Yeah, 7 a.m. your
We're
time.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started at 7 a.m. and until now, 2:13, this girl's made 324 calls. One of their agents. They've got 2 more that's staggered. One has 200, another one who just started a little over, almost 2 hours ago. He's got 104 calls. Okay. So the bottom line is you won't need as many people. Your customers that are generating 3 leads or 30 leads, you won't have to worry about separating them because they're going to have so much easier
You're saying because
activity.
they're gonna blow through the leads anyway. So they're minute things that become concerns on a high level when you're saying go with slow calling
Gone.
because you're worried about a strict number of calls. But if we're just gonna go over that amount that we're used to, those small differences won't even matter.
Won't even matter. You're just going to naturally cycle through leads. The big thing is just training your agents to pay attention. And it's not hard because Hot Prospector, again, Hunter being our initial project, they had all these different sub-accounts. We made it easy for the agent to see, oh, this is ABC company, this is their lead. Oh, and this is their script. And here's our sales playbook for that. The average agent is able to handle that very well, especially if they're coming from offshore. And I don't know where you guys hire your people, but a lot of offshore reps. You guys are all in the U.S.?
Yeah, US.
Okay. Most reps, if they've worked in a BPO setting, understand that automatically the dynamic of switching between different accounts randomly.
Yeah.
It happens.
So there's, in terms of messaging, let's say we schedule someone, and we can schedule someone through Hot Prospector. So
Yep. It's scheduling through
And-
Hot Prospector, but it's using High Level's calendar.
oh, okay, and then that will put them into flows on high level, right?
Yes.
They'll be okay. No, that makes sense. I'm trying to think of any other. They can see the sub account. It's easy. They have the script. If they fill out a form connected to high level, can we get the answers to populate onto Hot Prospector?
If they fill out the form on High Level, when you say the form, you mean like a website or?
Yeah, like a landing page form. They fill out, oh, credit score is this, urgency is this, and those are on high level. Can that be seen on Hot Prospector?
Absolutely.
It's not like
Yeah.
they can.
So the way we integrate with High Level is any lead that comes into High Level, it's instantly pushed into Hot Prospector and synced up. So whenever a note is added, a text message is sent, a call is made, a field is changed, anything that happens on that lead is going to stay synced with us 100%. So it's like it's happening in High Level, or if it happens in Hot Prospector, it's like it's happening High Level and vice versa.
Yeah, it would definitely improve efficiency. It sounds very useful to me. I don't need to be convinced on that end for sure. How does pricing work with it? Is it based on dials?
Yeah, so good question. So pricing on our system is based off of 2 things. One, number of seats that are dialing, and 2, the number of sub-accounts that you're connecting. You have how many agents that are dialing right now?
3, about to be 4.
Okay. And how many, you said you have 25 clients?
26.
Okay.
Roughly.
So then you Yeah, you guys would be on the agency. Agency gives you up to 10 agents and up unlimited sub accounts. So you can connect unlimited high-level sub accounts, and you can add up to 10 people onto your call center team where before you'd ever have to hire or pay another fee. So it's $497. And then after those initial seats are consumed and you grow and you're taking over the world in your space and you want to add another 5 people, you can either buy individuals at 75 or you can add another 5 people for 250 at $50 a seat essentially.
And with that same program, we'd be able to, not say we would do it, but with that same agency level program, would we be able to separate out the accounts in the way that we'd like to, with the schedulers managing their 8 accounts, managing their 8 accounts, managing their 8 accounts? Or would that make setup like very complex?
It's not about whether it's complex for the setup. It's more
It
about
it removes us from speed of lead. I get it, because if everybody's dialing and everybody's sharing the same leads, speed of lead is that's going to be very efficient. But then if you divide their accounts into what we were using on high level and trying to copy that, I see how it moves us further away from the goal of speed to lead and just keeps us aligned more so to what we were doing.
yeah, there's that, but then there's also the element of you have to be able to balance out what your agents are doing. And knowing, hey, this person getting X number of leads, this person's getting X number of leads to keep them busy all day. You'll have some people that are having too much work and some that don't have enough. So you don't have to do it. In my approach that I'm talking about, you don't have to do that. So where you'll have some agents that are just sitting around a lot of the day. And the problem with that isn't just about them sitting around. It's like I used this analogy yesterday because of the Mike Tyson fight or whatever. But imagine you guys play sports. Okay, when you're playing basketball, you get warmed up, you're having fun, you're good. But then as soon as you go sit down on the bench and take a break, you got to get back in the game. You're like, you got to warm yourself up again, and it's hard.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for sales and
Sales cadence,
callers. Yeah, they got to stay warm all day. As soon as you start to cool down, their head starts to slip out of the game. A lot of other problems happen. And so for me, I'm big on keeping them engaged throughout the day. And if you've got a big enough pool of old leads and stuff like that, you can use that. You can leverage that. So,
Quick question: we have local numbers for all our clients. What happens are we calling from one number on this? Because we can't. I guess it can't switch numbers for every different sub account that you're calling from. Can.
Yeah, that's a good question. So our system has the ability for you to set specific numbers that are going to be used only for certain sub accounts. So imagine you've heard of local presence, right? A lot of dialers use local presence so they can show a local phone number wherever you're calling.
I actually haven't, but that's
okay. Yeah, so our system has local presence built in, but what's really unique about our local presence in contrast to like other dialers or other call center software is because ours was specifically set up for high level or for agencies that are doing this type of service like you guys are doing. We give you the ability to pool together numbers per sub account. That way, when you're rotating the numbers, you're able to rotate the numbers that are only assigned to that specific sub account. The reason why we rotate numbers, if you're not familiar with the reasoning behind that, is exactly why you guys have a problem with spam. The calls, if you're making too many calls from the same number in a day, that number gets flagged by the carrier and also by people who are receiving calls mistakenly, right? They've opted in, they just didn't realize they've opted in. And so the number shows up as spam. But we mitigate that by creating these small pools of numbers, and using that rotation keeps them spread out enough to where you don't show up as spam.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's good. We're currently using First Orion or First Orient. I don't know how you say it. Do you know what that is? Are you familiar?
Absolutely.
Do we need that?
It just depends. I'll tell you. I'm really glad you brought that up, by the way. You guys obviously know your stuff because most people have never even heard of First Orion. Just as a recap, First Orion, what their business is all about is treating your number by applying a whitelisting type of a service to that number, plus applying a caller ID. And the caller ID that you would normally provide, give me 1 second. Sorry, somebody just opened up the door and I wanted to make sure I didn't interrupt. So
All good.
they apply that caller ID to the number, and that caller ID is really something that you cannot do outside of a First Orion. For example, Twilio, they have the ability for you to add a caller ID name, but the problem is the carriers don't accept about half of those caller ID name passovers. It's weird. I don't know why. Maybe because of just too many spam or too many scammers and stuff that abused it. But for First Orion, they take like 100% of them, maybe 90 something percent. But everything I've seen, they've pretty much gone through. So the answer to your question is, yeah, I believe that keeping First Orion is still valuable for that perspective, because there's really two things that go into making sure that the number does actually get answered. One is you call them fast, but two, they know who it is that's calling them, and you don't have that luxury when you are doing it just with Twilio or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to see because I don't want to be holding on to it if it's not valuable. But that answers that. I don't really have many other questions. I guess just for setup, if we were to move forward, would I be getting on a call with someone and we walk through it together? Would I try to figure it out? How does that work once we start?
Yeah, we have two things. One, we have a bunch of videos inside of Hot Prospector that's going to give you some guidance. We have some knowledge-based articles that we've written that talk about some of the things that you're already doing, like when it comes to First Orion and stuff like that, giving you insight on how best to structure your process of how you're going to set up your sub account, all that. But to answer your question, we onboard everybody on a initial onboarding call after you've set up your Twilio, after you've done the little basic stuff. We give you some time to do that. But once that's done, we'll do a full-on walkthrough with you and show you around and maybe answer a lot of the questions that you might have gotten between the time your sign up and your onboarding call. As far as like past that, as an agency, you do get the ability to schedule Zoom sessions if you need help with certain things. You can just reach out. You'll have an account manager that you can reach out to that'll help you if you ever get stuck and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I was just wondering. I should be able to figure it out. It doesn't sound too complicated. In the case I run into issues, I would need that one. No, that makes sense. Mike, do you have anything that makes it sounds good to me?
I like it. I obviously trust Hunter. I like you, Mark. It all sounds really good. I think for one thing to always consider is the cost of switching. Because then you look at someone like Stevie and why hasn't he switched? What's not letting him bite the bullets? But then also, if we're at a lesser amount of clients, we're more mobile and we're more not prone to try new things, but very open. Hunter is. Then I'm very fine with that. And then in the balance of keeping everything simple, because Roche, and this isn't the fault of Hot Prospector, but I know Seth and Nick went a little crypto crazy on this, and it just became so complex that they went back to high level. So I'm thinking, is there a balance? And not that we would do this, but I'm almost thinking maybe it's a bad idea, but would it be a good idea to keep the two callers on high level, bring one caller who we've used very consistently, move their 8 accounts onto Hot Prospector, and have them use the program, see how quickly they can adapt to it, see how well she likes it, a caller that we trust, see what her dials go to, how much more efficient it is, and then transfer to the other two once the first one knows how to do it. I'm just thinking in my head, but overall, super open to trying it, and I would want to dive in and see how it works.
I have one more quick question. In the case that someone, a lot of times you have people who answer and need a call back. It's like they're like, oh, call me back at 3 p.m. today. How would that work?
So we have inside our dialers, we have our own scheduler, callback scheduler that is going to pop up the lead at the exact time that person scheduled. And so they don't have to set up a task or any of those things. And if you don't mind, I really quickly want to address that point that you made that about Seth and Nick. I don't know them too well. I know who you're referring to, but it's not even like just them in general. I've seen this happen. And this, again, is probably me speaking more than anything in my opinions.
That's fine.
Obviously, my experience. GoHighLevel has done an amazing job at selling people on GoHighLevel to almost to a fault, because I think people expect GoHighLevel to do things it wasn't designed to do. And when I bring somebody on, I'm more trying to get them to really just rethink things, like pause for a second and think, am I doing things the way that I should be doing them? Because there's a lot of companies that don't use GoHighLevel and are successful. There's a lot of companies that have probably just Excel, as their CRM and are doing fine, but probably could do a lot better. The point is that, are we doing things the best way that they can be done? And sometimes it just takes it really just to sit back and rethink things from a bigger perspective and being open to change. If you do that, I think you're going to see that there isn't a better way to do it. There really isn't a better way to do it than to focus on speed to lead, unless you don't have a lot of leads, right? If you don't have a lot of leads, and
no, we definitely have a lot of leads. Speed to lead is big, and we struggle with it for sure because we struggle with it big time.
And we don't measure it.
And also in terms of
it's so funny you said that too. Measuring it is important. Yep.
Yeah.
In terms of like dial tracking, we had a big issue with that. We got it a little bit in check, but it takes a lot of manpower. Will we know who's making however many calls for which accounts, like all of that?
Yeah. So can you repeat that? I just muted Michael because we're getting
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Basically, just are we gonna be able to see which agent is making how many calls each agent's making for which accounts, how long they spend on the phone? Like, how is the data that you guys track, and is that easy to pull?
Yep. Let me show you a real quick. I'm just gonna point to the dashboard here, real quick, because that's my favorite thing to talk about. There's two things actually I love about I'm proud of here, really big time at Hot Prospector, and one is for the dashboards for the agent, or sorry, for the manager, we give them exactly what they want to see, and from the agent level, if they experience Hot Prospector and you tell them they have to dial again inside of GoHighLevel, they get pissed. Like, those two things make me super proud, because that means that we've got something right. So that's
what Hunter said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. So here, if you look at this dashboard, this is that client I was just telling you about just a second ago. They have 3 agents dialing today on a Saturday, right? This is their numbers of dials that they've made for the day. This is how many calls they've received or taken themselves. Look at this. You can see they've missed 17 calls. If I were them, I would be like, what is going on? Why are we missing calls? You have to go. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of inbound, we can't take inbound as of right now. How does that work? Inbound calls.
You want to and you can't, or you just cannot because you're...
No, we want to, and it's not that we can't, we just don't necessarily know.
Yeah, so Hot Prospector is blended. So they're in the dialer, they get the call, they get the text, everything is happening in one single dashboard. That's the beauty of this.
So if someone calls in, it will go to them?
It'll ring in to do it. If you have teams of people that are working in certain campaigns, certain groups of people or certain group of sub-accounts, or if you have everybody in one and it's like a free-for-all, whoever answers the call, you could do it however way you'd like. But that thing slides out. It just says what's count up when the slider comes out, and it'll probably happen while we're on the calls. These guys get a lot of calls. But the slide out happens, it'll show you the number of the lead and the sub account name and the name of the lead. And when they accept it, the whole screen opens up and they'll have the contact details, their call disposition, their notes, everything in one area. So here you've got, like I said, the number of calls they've made, the number of calls they received, their talk time. I'm big on measuring talk time because talk time really is the key indicator of whether or not somebody is actually able to engage prospect. This guy right here, I don't know, I guess he's on pace. He did start a little late. But that's the key thing I'm looking for. If somebody's able to keep people on the phone, then they know what they're doing, right? If somebody's struggling with keeping people on the phone, they're burning through numbers. Here you can see when they made their first call, their last call, their average gap time in between calls. So I measure that a lot. That's another thing that I'm looking for. If somebody has a lot of gap time, they've got either the wrap-up time is too high or they might be just getting off the phone and not being as effective as they could be. Here we schedule, or we have our prospects and appointments broken down into two things. For these guys, a prospect is somebody who they might have ready to go but possibly needs to be called a couple of times. Appointments are people that are ready to go. They book them on the calendar. When it comes to monitoring those appointments, you click on one screen or click on the thing and it pops up so you can see the call and you can just click and listen to the call. So you can verify that it was a good appointment or whatnot. QA, super easy. If you're wanting to know who's engaged, you can see all three of these guys are now engaged because they're green. When they're not engaged, it goes to yellow. That means they're in between calls. If I wanted to see their individual daily numbers, I click. It opens up for the day, and now I can see their breakdown of call dispositions, custom. These are call dispositions are all customizable, so you can decide whatever you want to see based off of your specific leads. We have some default statuses that are in there to give you an idea of where to start, and then you can just build upon it from there. Also, those call gaps I was mentioning, if your agents are remote and you want to know what they're doing and when they slip away for a long time, here you see them all in list view, either over 5 minutes or 10 minutes. 5 minutes to me is the standard. If you're doing over 5 minutes, then I'm looking. I want to know why. This is probably lunch. That makes sense. Why are you having so many other times throughout the day where you're slipping away? What are you doing? Are you working 2 jobs? Are you playing Xbox? I don't know. I want to know what's going on there when I see those kind of things. So that's the dashboards. We have way more dashboards that we can go into, but we have reporting dashboards for you to show like your sub accounts, how many, the same type of metrics by sub account, call answer reports, just tons of different things.
That's really good. That's really good. I had one question. I'm forgetting what it was. Oh, in terms of, because we'll need to not train, but just have good training for our agents to figure out like what's going on, because they'll be obviously a little bit confused to begin with. Do you have something like that, or do we need to walk them through?
So there's a video inside of inside the training area that has like a how to use the dialer video. It's short. It's only about 15, 20 minutes. This is another thing I like to brag on, that most people that's ever used a dialer know how they work, and our agent experience is very intuitive. The manager, if you've never used a call center software, there is a learning curve setting it up. But if you're an agent, it's not hard at all. You just go in, you just have to know where to start your campaign. And then when you're inside the campaign, there's a few key functions: adding notes, booking appointments, positioning a lead, changing fields, transferring a call if you need to transfer a call, opening up the call menu to be able to, prompt numbers if you need calling, if you get like a phone tree or something. Those are the basic things. Looking up a number if somebody is, you need to look somebody up, booking an appointment or a callback. All of those you can teach somebody within about 15 to 20 minutes. It's very simple. It's just the setup. As your agency is getting set up, you're going to have to figure out how you want to approach things, and that's where the most lift is at.
Yeah. Roche it sounds basic, Roche. It sounds like a good, clean setup that is just transferred over and it's just different colors and buttons in different places, but generally the same thing. Mark, could I see the agent's view just out of curiosity on kind of what that looks like?
Absolutely. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay, so when the agents go to their campaigns area, there's this button here that says dialer. And so every campaign that they have access to is going to be listed here for them. And so they'll see the name of the campaign, and then over here on the right, there's some actions. That the main action that they really are ever worried about, and all the ones that they don't have access to are minimized. They don't see them. But the main action is this green start calling button. So if I click start calling, I'm going to get an option here to decide what time zones I might want to call, depending on if that's something you guys need to do. It's not necessary. And then I'm just going to click start calling, start dialing. When I hit start dialing, it immediately pulls up the first lead and dials that lead. So there's no pause, there's no delay. That lead starts calling. You're going to see the contact information here in the center. If their specific sub account is going to be different, it's going to change right here in the center. So the name of the sub account shows up here. And we also have, are you guys familiar with, I don't know, you're probably using the custom values.
So should we use custom values? You would know. I don't know.
Yeah. In terms of, yeah, we use customize.
Okay, perfect. So if you wanted to display some of the custom values in this area, you can. So for example, maybe you want to show the address of the sub account, their hours of operation, any special promotions you're running, anything like that here in this area. It's really easy and clean for the person to access. We have, again, the script area here, and then also policies, which are actually like sales playbooks that you can have. They're specifically set up by your location. So you can show those here if the agent needs to access them while they're making calls. Over here on the left, you've got the ability to send a text, an email. These are sent out via the HighLevel sub account or integration. Over here on the right, you have your call transfer. So if they're doing a live transfer and you have a list of numbers in here for them to transfer to, they can do that. If they get a voicemail, you can drop an automatic or a pre-recorded voicemail just by waiting for the beep and clicking this, and it'll drop that recorded voicemail so they can just go to the next lead. And then down here, you've got your call statuses. These call statuses are just basically, hey, somebody got them on the phone and, pitched them and they weren't interested. I click not interested. It's going to mark not interested. It's going to add it as a note as not interested under call status. It'll tell you how long the call was here. We do record the calls if you want to record the calls. We also do summaries if you want to use our AI summaries, and it'll show you a summary of that call. So if the agent's calling them back, they can see their last summary. All of that happens pretty fast, easy. But as you can see, it's pretty easy. This is all they do. They click this button to go to the next lead. If they want to book an appointment, the calendar's right here. It opens up the HighLevel calendar so they can book it right from here. Like I said, they got the scripts and stuff. They can add a note here. If they need to call somebody back, they click call back. It opens up a scheduler here so they can set the time and date of the callback and just go right to the next lead. Focus here is just keeping them in one area so they don't have to think. They don't have to think, who do I call next? They don't have to be searching for things. That really does cause people to slow down. Hope that helps.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really good. I think we could use it. It'll take some setup, but that's something we'd be willing to do. I think now's a good time because we're on the smaller end. For someone like Stevie, it's a lot better. Yeah.
I'd be cool with trying it out. Mark, how much did you say? I don't know if you sent me the referral link. I don't even know if I clicked on a referral link. Did I go through one of Hunter's link? I think he said it was $297. I don't know if you changed the price or if that's the referral link. Honestly, it doesn't really matter, but
There's two programs. The $297 is our business, and then our
yeah.
agency $7. So the $297,
And you said we're the agency.
Yeah, agencies unlimited sub accounts, business is $297 to get you 5.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Karosh, I'd like to hear your thoughts, but I'm down to try it out.
Yep. Yep. For sure. I'm just thinking when would be the time that we transition.
What would you think if we transitioned Sadaf and we started putting their no? Why not?
No. I'd rip all into it as he said.
You'd rip all of them.
All of them,
And then
and not assign.
um
Regardless, we want to start. It doesn't really matter the details right
Yeah.
now, but
for me, I'm gonna move a little so we don't echo and we can just talk. For me, I like what Mark said. I think it should be all of them. Right now, Roche, it changes, I think, too many variables to all of a sudden now they're all sharing accounts, they're all on this, and we completely switch to high level, and eventually they will get over that hump. But I think if we put in those accounts first and we literally tested it with one person, D, for a month, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, and D comes back and she goes, it's way better than high level. D's now dialing at 400, then it's, okay, let's dive in. Everyone's doing this.
yeah, again, the details aren't important. If we set it up to where we're confident it can work, I would be fine doing it. Because it's not like magic. It's just
Yeah, we
it
can
working
talk
is not
about
really a
that.
question.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's just an unknown of our people getting, I think they'll get adjusted to it, but it's just an unknown of the cadence, the adjustment to it, the count, everything mapping to the sheets. It will be fine, but it's an adjustment period.
It already goes to the
Or-
sheets because it's linked to high levels.
because it's linked to high level.
None of that stuff gets mixed up. They just need to understand how to use it. It's not that hard. Yeah, so where do we sign up? Is there a link we go to? Do we just go to the main
Yeah,
page?
if you have Hunter's link,
Do it now.
then if you go to Hunter's link, I'm hoping he gave you his link because that'll make it easier for us to track your referrals. But if you click on that, there it's going to take you to a page where it'll show you the 3 different packages. You're definitely going to, like I said, you sound like agency based off of what you're saying. So just pick agency and sign up. Once you sign up through that, you're going to get an email. The email is going to tell you, it should, if I remember off the top of my head how they've put it together, it's basically going to say, hey, do these things first, which are like setting up your Twilio and stuff like that. Once you've got that done, then schedule. And ideally, you could have something like that set up within like 2-3 days from the time you sign up.
All right, we'll do that.
Sounds good.
Sounds really great to us. You pointed out like so many things that I think are going to be fantastic. So I'm excited, and we'll get that done soon.
The only thing I always like to leave people with on this is like everybody wants things like painless, and I'm with you. I hate pain. Nobody likes pain. And when it comes to moving things around in your business, it's painful. No matter how much thought and stuff that goes into it, it's going to be a little painful. Just trust the process. We've got some pretty big agencies that are doing this, and it's very successful for them. I think if you go all in, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to see such efficiencies in your system that you just never dreamed imaginable or never dreamed possible, sorry. And once you actually start to see the effects for your leads on that speed to lead, it's all going to be worth it.
Mark, Hunter said he can't send the link right now. He can send it on Monday. He hasn't sent it yet. He said, can you just buy it? I'll tell Mark.
Yeah, that's easy for him to say because then I got to switch stuff. Let me send you a link. Because it's hard in the back end. Let me send you a link. Can I just shoot it to you via email? Because I'll grab his link. Probably just isn't in front of his computer. I'll go into his grab it and send it to you guys.
Yeah.
And then you guys use his link.
That's cool.
Cool. Because then I don't want to have to ask my developers to like hard code you guys underneath them. But
yeah.
It'll just take me 2 seconds to send you the link.
Okay.
I really appreciate you. So you guys are in a pretty big, like a decent like group or what? Like mastermind?
We joined Black Sheep when we were like at one client, and we really scaled with Hunter, Stevie, and they've been heavy advisors to us. Like we talk frequently to them.
Got you. Okay. So you're in his mainly. Gotcha.
We were. He had one, and he doesn't do it anymore. But that's what we used to do.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Look, if you love what you get once you put this all together, and you guys want to share the link around as well for yourself, we have a good program. It's 25% referrals ongoing. So somebody signs up, pay 25% of whatever they spend with you or with us ongoing off of their subscription.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it.
Awesome. Well,
Cool.
We're excited. I'm excited.
Thanks, guys. Have a
Cool.
good weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You too.
Yep, you as well. Bye.